My name is Peter Brusso for One-on-One Small Business Mastermind, and with me today we have Frank Sharinga. Frank, say hi.
Hello, everybody.
And Mark Giardino, say hello.
How you guys doing?
Good. And Mark Jalone.
Morning.
That's the boonie hat. He's got his Army boonie hat on. I got mine on, if nobody else figured that out. And our guest today is Adrian Massey. How are you?
Good Thursday to you.
Good. All right, let's kick off our show. And Dick is traveling, so he'll actually be on mobile, and he's through the mountains at the moment, so he'll come on and off for those who are watching us. All right, let me share my screen. I'm going to talk about, get over there now. Yes, I want to talk about business cards. Here we go. All right, so in the world of trying to get noticed and trying to make sure that we stand out amongst the crowd, if anybody does any networking or the like from either Chamber of Commerce's or Rotaries, you start out with a business card, and we've talked a lot about a business card CD-ROM, but I wanted to give you some other options here. Here's a very clever one, clear and transparent business card. That could be really cool. And so they've got some really cool things here. Now, this one I thought was really clever. Everybody sees business cards up here, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, look at this one. Cardboard cutout.
I like that.
How different is that, guys?
Yeah,
Apparently there's a group that will actually print these out for you, but essentially you could make your own too. That'd be kind of fun. Now this one is really cool, a box in a business card. So it folds, this business card folds out to be making a box. Now that's quite different, isn't it?
Yes.
That would be really cool to stand out in a crowd here. And then there's some basic design type things. But now this one is apropos. Look at this one there, Adrian. It's got a hole in the darn thing right through the camera lens. And people can pick that up, or you can pick it up and see what you would see in a camera lens.
I was thinking about doing something like that with a foil, so that when they looked at it, it was a mirror.
Oh, excellent! Yeah. So I mean, isn't that clever? That's very clever. Again, a nice translucent photograph. You could do the same thing with that one too. But that's a very nice looking, elegant card. That would get some real real notice there. Okay. This is an iced coffee card. We've seen that before. But this is clever now. Isn't that clever? You punch the card out and it makes a little chair. I think
I like it.
That could be really fun. So, you know, the part of what I'm trying to instill is a little concept of, hey guys, it's all about being a little different, getting noticed. You can tell your story, like Frank always talks about. Here's a post-MOML version. Then they get into mosaics, trying to really take patterns and get your eye into patterns. And so those are kind of nifty as well. You don't see those very often. And, you know, here again are some really interesting, almost reliefed cutout cards. Very different. And again, it's on cardboard, as you can see, and that's pretty clever. It's a curly, kinky business card. Again, basic designs, trying to look really different in color, and again, quite different there as well. Thicker cards, by the way, and then an Eiffel Tower version, which I guess would be really cool, I think, too, the pop out like that for Adrian. You could have a portrait there, right? And it just pops out like that.
Oh, like an easel. Yeah, that would look cool.
Yeah, like an easel. That would be very, very cool. And I'll have a link to this in the show notes. But that's, I thought that was a pretty clever use of looking at business cards and trying to do something different and stand out in the crowd, not have the same standard card. I just got our Coachella Valley podcast card, which is pretty nice. It looks like a movie, and then has both Dick and myself are connectivity, but again, it's shining down looks like a movie set for our podcast. So that's very simple what I have. Any questions on that, guys? Comments, questions?
No, some really good ideas there.
Yeah, I think there really are. And, I've looked at Vistaprint, I've looked at some of the others, and they just don't have it. So there are links to those design groups there to take a peek at those to see what we can do differently. If you don't want to go to the expense of doing a CD-ROM, then that's certainly an option. All right, without any further ado then, let's head over to Frank and our twin, my favorite part of the show here. Frank?
All right. Now it's official.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last week we forgot that.
Okay. I forgot it. This week's twin, this week in the news, small business lesson. This week's topic, hey, Jessica Scorpio, thank you for the small business lesson. All right, who is Jessica Scorpio? Let me give you some background. She was born in 1987. I have pants in my closet older than her. Born in 1987 in Ontario, Canada, but raised in Florida. And in 2008, she graduated from Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada, with a BA in political science. Let me make a statement. I find it very, very sad that young people and too many entrepreneurs know a lot more about Justin Bieber, Lindsay Lohan, Miley Cyrus, and Ray Rice. They're all about the same age as Jessica than they do about Jessica Scorpio, and that is a crying shame. Let me list some of Jessica's awards and recognition. When she was just 24 in August of 2011, Huffington Post put her on a list of female technology founders to watch at 24. 2 months later, Fortune magazine said Jessica was one of the top 8 female entrepreneurs under the age of 25. 1 month later, CEO World says, hey, Jessica is one of the top 20 female entrepreneurs of high-tech companies. Another month later, General Electric says Jessica is one of the 11 sustainable innovators of 2011. And 2 months later, Business Insider magazine says Jessica is on a list of 14 incredible women in Silicon Valley. Isn't Jessica Scorpio a lot better role model than those other idiots? Now, let me tell you Jessica's story. 1 year after graduating from Carleton University up there in Ottawa, Canada, Jessica was one of 40 people invited to join the inaugural class of Singularity University. Singularity is based in Silicon Valley and was founded by Google, Cisco, and other high-tech companies. The mission of Singularity U is to educate, inspire, and empower leaders to apply exponential technologies to address humanity's grand challenges. In other words, come up with something. Okay? One of Jessica's instructors was Larry Page, the founder of Google, who challenged his class to say, come up with an idea that will benefit 1 billion people in 10 years. Jessica took that challenge to heart, and she teamed up with fellow Canadian and fellow student Sam Zaid to address this challenge. And they come up with some great ideas, and they brought idea after idea to the faculty, and they always heard the same reply on their idea: think bigger. So while brainstorming, Jessica and Sam kept coming back to something called transportation. And they eventually presented their idea, which they called Get Around, which received thumbs up from their world-class mentors, and their charge was, Jessica and Sam, go get it done. What is Get Around? Well, listen to this statistic. Every day, 1 billion, that's what it'd be, 1 billion privately owned cars sit idle up to 23 hours per day. In the U.S. alone, every year there are 6 billion car hours underutilized. Think about it. How many hours a day does your car sit idle? Jessica and Sam were inspired by a car sharing service called Zipcar. Zipcar was founded in 2000 in Boston, as a matter of fact, And it's a fleet of company-owned cars that are parked on major city streets, and they're available for hourly, daily, or weekly rentals. And on your smartphone, you can find a car, go to it, rent it, and bring it back, and do everything on your smartphone. Zipcar was so successful that Avis purchased them in March of last year. Jessica and Sam's idea says, you know what, Zipcar? You didn't think big enough. So rather than maintaining company-owned cars, Get-Around, Jessica and Sam's idea, would connect individual car owners like everybody in this podcast with renters, meaning when your car is idle, you could rent it for use within your time parameters. Now, whenever Jessica and Sam presented their idea to people outside of Singularity University, their response was always the same. Wow, love the idea. It makes a ton of sense. This could have a big impact. There is a big need for this, but it will never work because people are not going to share their car with strangers. Well, there was a big problem. The auto insurance company. They said to Jessica, what happens when there is an accident? Right now, the car owner's insurance will have to cover it, and the accident could affect the insurance rating and premiums for the car owner. This will not work. Jessica's response to the insurance company says, hey, write two insurance policies in the same car, one when the owner is driving and one when the renter is driving. And whoever is operating the car, that will determine which insurance company is responsible. The insurance company says, no, Jessica. That is against the law. So instead of doing what many small business owners do and say, man, too bad, what a great idea, but it just won't work, Jessica said, baloney, and she went to Sacramento to change the law. Now, those of us who live in California know about Sacramento. And it's similar to Washington, D.C., but a lot worse. So how could Jessica get Democrats and Republicans to work on anything, especially in a state like California? Here's what she did. She went to the Democrats and say, hey, I got this great idea, and it's green. And Democrat says, well, we like green. We'll support you, Jessica. Then she went to the Republicans and said, hey, I got this great idea, and it's great for small business. And the Republican says, okay, Jessica, we'll support you because we like small business. And on September 29th, 2010, AB 1871 was passed, stating that when participating in a personal vehicle sharing program like Get-Around, the car owner's insurance is not going to be affected. The owner of the car can legally make up to $10,000 per year in rental fees, and the car sharing company, Get-Around, must provide this insurance during the car share period. Great. She now had a law. She went to the insurance company and said, hey, let's create a special policy. And most of them says, no, we're not going to get involved in this. So she went to Berkshire Hathaway, and they now offered a policy. Bingo. Get-Around is now a viable company. Let me tell you how this works, because I think it's fascinating. For car owners, your car must be a 1995 model or newer. It must have less than 150,000 miles, and you must have proof of auto insurance. If you're a renter, you must be 19 years or older. You must have at least 2 years driving experience, a valid Facebook account, which they use for identification, and DMV records. Online, the car owner set the times that the car is available and the price they want. And they have everything on their list from a Volkswagen to a Tesla. And obviously the price is different. Renters review what's available online. They pick the car they want. The owner is notified that the car's been selected, and they work out the deal. And the owner then decides to accept the deal or not. And everything on the car and on the transaction and the opening and closing of the car door is all monitored by an app on your smartphone. And there's an app on a smartphone that also tracks the car with a GPS whenever your car is being rented. You know exactly where your car is at all times. Now, the owner receives 60% of the rental fee, and Get-Around receives 40% of the rental fee. Get-Around, for their 40%, Get-Around screens all renters. They insure every vehicle for up to $1 million, and they provide 24-hour roadside service. The average car owner on Get-Around makes about $300 per month, almost $4,000 a year, and the average car renter saves about $8,000 per year. Isn't this amazing? Let me tell you about the small business lessons I got at this. Lesson number 1, think different and think big. Disruptive ideas like get-arounds are not only available from the young like Jessica Scorpio, Mark Zuckerberg, or Bill Gates. Those of us over 50 have more life experiences, more knowledge, and are smarter, as far as I'm concerned, than the young in many areas. We just have to believe in ourselves. And small business lesson number 2, be a leader, not a follower. Jessica would not let her dream die, and neither should you. Either find a way, or just like 24-year-old Jessica Scorpio, make a way and make it happen. And Jessica Scorpio, we thank you for your small business lesson. And gentlemen, that's my twin for this week. Thank you.
All right. Any questions?
What
No,
kind
in
of
fact,
comment?
actually, believe it or not, I belong to another a company identical to it. It's called Relay Rides.
Yes, I'm familiar with them. Yes.
And they even have gone so far as to, right now, it's obviously it's new. If you fly out of San Francisco, granted that would be a long drive for all of us to drive up to San Francisco, but you fly out of San Francisco, you can leave your car at the airport for free, because what you end up doing is you end up giving the permission to Relay Rides to rent your car while you're gone. So you're making money while you're on vacation. You get your car back when you get back, and when you get back, it's delivered to you at the airport by their concierge service, and you've made a couple of bucks in your pocket. It's a great deal.
And your car is fully insured?
Fully insured. It's the same that the $1 million umbrella liability. I've talked to my insurance company to make sure that, there were no loopholes, and they said, no, everything is good to go. You can do that anytime you want.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, again, I don't know about you, but right now my car's in my garage. I wouldn't mind making some money for the next 3 or 4 hours while I'm working here in my office. Wouldn't mind it at all. So.
I've got 2 cars in the garage. I can only drive one at a time.
There you go.
Yeah, the other one's a pedal car, though. That doesn't count.
A big wheel?
Or golf carts. What about golf carts?
Yeah, I think he has a little fire engine in there or something. Might be a tank. Who knows?
It might be a tank.
Around here, put golf carts on.
Well,
there.
no, but let me ask you, don't you think the young people and even entrepreneurs would be a lot better off learning more about people like Jessica Scorpio than they are about people like Ray Rice or Justin Bieber?
Well, right, but the problem is that it's not exciting headline news. We've been fed all of this drama for so bloody long that the feel-good stories of a 16-year-old that fought the government and won so that a really intelligent idea could move forward is not as exciting as watching some overpriced, paid, steroid-using athlete beat the crap out of his wife.
How's this for an idea? How about if some entrepreneur came up with a vehicle, whether it be a TV station or something like that, in which they talked about people like Jessica and we talked about Bethany Motor a couple of weeks ago. I talked about John Scully last week. He's 75. Doesn't have to be young. About people that we could learn so much from, and I think there is now it may not be as popular as the TMZs of the world, but I think there's an audience that is hankering. Matter of fact, Paul Harvey created a career on radio doing nothing but positive stories, and I believe there's a need for that today, and I would love to work with somebody to do that.
Well, I'd like to say something, and I think the common theme here is never give up. And I think all of us here with our past experience have gone through plenty of obstacles in our businesses. And how many times have we looked at ourselves and said, how are we going to get through this? How are we going to keep our business going? But somehow, some way, we've all never given up. And look where we are today compared to 5, 10 years ago. And thank God that all of us have never given up. And that's the example of your stories, Frank.
I was going to say that. And each one of those obstacles is a story that can be packaged that will separate you, Mark, and everybody else on this podcast even again, not even, and including Mark Jalone with all the other New York Life people, your story will make a hell of a difference. Your dad must have a story, Mark, because that's why he's so successful
50
as to
years.
what he does. Okay, so everybody, and we again, I'm going to talk about this. Everybody has a story. They just don't realize how valuable it is to them and how important it is for people that you want to attract should know that, because that will attract the people you should be doing business with, and they want to do business with you. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
There you go. Well, my only story is when I was born, they slapped my mother. My story. There you
Bada
go.
bing.
Bada bing. Okay, hey, so Mark Giardino, let's talk a little bit about the web, shall we?
Sure.
Okay, you had a topic you wanted to bring up.
Well, I think our theme today is photography with Adrian.
Yep.
And I go to some of these photographer meetings and groups, and I go for one reason only. Again, it's sort of an SEO experiment. And I go in there and I kind of ask around, and I ask them, does anybody here alt tag their photos on their websites? And I would say 95 to 100% do not even know what an alt tag is. And an alt tag is such a powerful instrument in our SEO. Again, we go back to our base keywords that we always have in our pocket and our hand. And where do we apply those keywords? Well, an alt tag is a very awesome tool to implement those keywords. And so every image on your website should have an alt tag. And maybe you can kind of explain a little more what an alt tag is. It's basically a description telling Google and search engines what that photo is.
Yes, as a matter of fact, almost every item on your web page can have alt tags.
Right.
Even text boxes, believe it or not.
Yeah, videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything.
Yep. So it's really important. They can actually have two SEO pieces: the title of the thing,
right,
which they look at, and the alt tag.
Exactly.
You know, so there's two, and a description.
And a description.
And a description. So you can really pump, don't keyword stuff, but you can really pump a lot of SEO juice and goodness into those images for sure.
And Google reads them.
And Google, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, all those crazy ones read them.
Is there a big difference between meta tags and alt tags?
Oh, absolutely.
Separate. It's separate.
They're completely different. They're separate. Your meta tags, which have been overused, and Google claims never to look at them, but I'm not so sure I believe that. They want you to believe that. But, yeah, the meta tags, well, meta tags, there's 30, 40, 50 different types of meta tags. It's meta tag description, meta tag keywords, meta tag author, meta tag, you get the idea.
Generator.
Exactly. There's like 30, 31, 40 different ones you can use. But the ones you're referring to are probably meta tag
keywords.
Descriptions.
And keywords.
Keywords, I'm sorry. And so that is part of the whole entourage. But if you actually look, Adrian, if you open up your WYSIWYG and you click on a picture, down on the bottom right-hand corner in the properties box, you'll see a title, a space, you'll see a description space, you'll see an alt tag space, and that's where you put your SEO keywords in those places.
And that's what I'm going to say. Most administration have an alt tag accessible for you. And it's very
well, I've also noticed that in Photoshop you can add keywords to photos.
Everywhere.
So is there a difference between what I would use and what I would do in Photoshop when I was attaching those keywords versus the meta tag keyword versus the alt tags?
Not clear with that. I don't know the answer to that one.
Okay.
I would rather do it in the design environment where the picture's coming into, that I absolutely know what that's all about. I'm not so sure.
What I do, Adrian, on my image alt tags is I image alt tags the keywords of what the specific article is about. So whatever it is, for instance, say it's a sports team portrait, I would alt tag that team's name or alt tag that description I did for the posting. So it's more or less a keyword for the posting that you're doing.
Okay, so you use it a little bit differently in
I see what you're
conjunction
saying.
with your article.
You got your meta keywords on your front page, okay? But then you have your alt tags on your images, so it's a separate from your meta. So you have your meta keywords, and then you have your alt tag keywords. So again, whatever keywords you want to put in there, that's your choice. And then that goes back to our keyword analysis that we start every web page with.
I understand.
And so you have them in your hand, and you just start plugging them in wherever it's appropriate.
Thank you.
For each one. For each one.
I understand.
Just a minute. In just a minute, I might be able to show you here in my design environment, and
again, too, I want to say Google will. If you do not have an alt tag, Google doesn't read it.
Okay, here, let me share something to show you that I didn't do what we're talking about. All right. So everybody should see our small business mastermind design environment. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
All right, so I clicked on our header here, which is this picture. Down here in the bottom right, under behaviors, here's the alternate text, which is what we were talking about. Here's also a title that we can put in there, and our ID is just image 1. And so we can do a lot of SEO just in this box alone. I think that should answer the question there, Adrian.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so
and that's where keywords can go.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, well, let's introduce Adrian. Adrian, introduce yourself, and what is it that you do, my friend?
Hello, my name is Adrian Mossy. I'm a photographer. I've been a photographer out here in the Coachella Valley for over 10 years. And I take pictures of 3 things, really. I do pictures of real estate, I do portraits of all types, and I do pictures of product. And that's it in a nutshell. I mean, I picked up a camera when I was 12 and took a picture of a helicopter flying up in the sky, and the blades were frozen. I was just fascinated with the science of it, and that's what drew me to it. And from there, I took classes, and here along the way, I took more classes. Where I ended up being a major in college for art, and stuck with it. And now that's what I do. It's what I love to do. So that has never changed.
And so you take pictures of what, 3 things?
Yeah, people, places, and product.
And so tell us a little bit about each places. What kind of examples would you do for places, peoples, and products?
All right. Well, I threw a mishmash of stuff up here in Photoshop, and where is it? I'm guessing you guys can't see that yet. Let me get there.
You're going to share it, right, with the share button?
There we are. Okay. So now, the reason I took this picture, this would be an example of architecture or places. Mm-hmm. And the reason I took this picture was I met with a builder who didn't like my work and said that I didn't take close-up pictures of things, like detail type work. So I specifically shot this picture as a sample to show basic design. So this was another, I think this was an art installation that was designed to be functional. This is right outside of Sotheby's in downtown Palm Springs. And I really like the way that the shadows played, the different lines, the geometry, the back, even the railing, how it all ties in together. This is the Palm Springs Convention Center, and if you haven't been there, you should go check it out. It's a really impressive building. I like that they had this little sculpture here on the side with the people, kind of made it feel relaxing. It kind of brings you into the environment. The contrast between the rock and then the smooth straight lines and the windows. Here's another angle. And an evening shot. And this is really where I kind of caught my real love for the commercial side of things was my senior year of college, and I actually had a professor who saw some of my pictures of buildings and said, "You need to do a project on this." And I was very upset because, college students don't want to be told what to do. And so I went and I did it, and I mounted all of my pictures on a forest green mat board because I knew that would drive them nuts. But it didn't. The love for it still showed through. I mean, the pictures at the time were of the old Palm Springs Convention Center, and I don't have any of those because they're not digitized. But it was just kind of interesting to 10, 15 years down the road come back to it, and here I am shooting it again. And then people. So this is a headshot. This is a picture of Leah. She came by, and I did some pictures of her. These were more on the side of modeling type photography, as opposed to professional headshots. We had looked at some stuff online, and she had found some different stuff that she liked, some different ideas, and so we just tried to duplicate it, and I did a little something different with the lighting and tried to make it a little more fun, a little contrasty. This was a modeling shoot out by the Salton Sea.
I recognize that.
The famous tree from the movie The Salton Sea. Val Kilmer apparently sat in that tree and played the saxophone. That's what a local resident told me. And this guy was nice enough to donate his time for free photos. So sometimes when I'm looking to learn and grow as an artist in my profession, I'll give stuff away in order to gain what I need. In the pictures of Leah as well, I gave her the photos for free because I wanted her time and I needed to use her, and so that was my way of repaying. And now here's a more formal type of setup. Obviously that's in a studio environment, controlled flashes, backdrop. And this lady actually made all of these teddy bears. I think she's in her 70s, maybe her 80s. And her daughter paid for the shoot, and she wanted to have something nice for her stepmom. To me, as morbid as it sounds, I think there were alternate uses for these photos, but we won't discuss them.
That's unbearable. Unbearable. That's grisly, I tell you.
Yeah. This is Matthew. He's a 7-year-old model, and his mom. They had just moved here from somewhere in Northern California, and she needed new headshots for him, and so they came by, and pictures like this, when I'm all set up and I know what I'm working with going into it, what they're looking for, they don't take long. I mean, this was a total of an hour worth of photography, if that, and then the rest of it is just me sitting in front of a computer doing the processing, and there wasn't really much processing needed for this kid. So we're still on the people things. This is Chris Elliott. I actually grew up with him, and then ran into him professional headshots. So he came by the studio, and we he came by looking nice, and so we did some photos. This is a postcard mailer that I'm getting ready to do, and you saw all 4 of these photos already, and the intent of these photos was specifically for this postcard mailer. So when I have something in mind and I go out to shoot it, I know exactly what the pictures are going to be used for. Here's the other card that I'm going to be sending out. This is going to be a series of 3 mailers. The third one that goes out is actually going to be a picture frame. So as you can see, we're back into the places thing, and these are interior photographs of 2 different homes. So this photograph and this photograph go together, and this photograph and this photograph go together. And shooting places, it's very important for me to try and give a sense of place, where people feel comfortable with the environment they're looking at. They feel like they're in it, or they feel like they could walk into it and go through the space. This picture right here doesn't really do that. The other 3 do. This picture was really more about the view. It was specifically for the real estate agent. They wanted to show the view from inside the house. And so that's where I was going with that photo. We talked about product. Here's a picture of some bourbon.
By the way, I can read the label quite nicely. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, clarity is one of the most important things when it comes to product photography. I mean, if I'm going to show a product, I want the people to know, hey, this is what it is. You know, so as well as making the product look appealing, where you want to reach in and grab that bottle and open it up and pour yourself a drink, you want to you want people to feel like they can do that, and so after you've poured yourself that drink, you want to be able to taste that drink, and making these things look inviting. Obviously, the very similar setup in these photos. The most important thing with product photography, the idea is to make people want those things, and you know, that kind of speaks for itself. Now, here's some more product photography for a company based out of Palm Desert. They're called Ageless Secret. Again, the clarity of the reflection, the clarity of the product itself, the lighting of it, it's all, I mean, it's all toward one goal. And again, this is a very similar setup to the bourbon, just with a different lighting scenario. But I really think that it made the product stand out, and that was the reason I chose to do it this way.
I love that picture.
Thank you. Now here's some more product photography. This was actually a Christmas gift from my wife. I'm very into barbecue, very into smoking meats, that is, and so this is a hickory grilling man crate, and so it's literally nailed together. You know, the wood is literally a crate, and it comes with this little miniature crowbar that you can see right here on top.
Oh, cool!
You have to pry it open, and it had all of these little cool things in there. And so immediately I open it, and I'm like, I got to take a picture. This is so cool. I got to take a picture of this. And you know, I love the fact that it comes with brass knuckle tenderizer for the steak. You know, 101 uses right there.
That looks like a Defender. Where's my Defender pictures?
You know what? I couldn't find them.
Oh.
But we do have a picture from where is this, Mr. Jalone? The Vintage?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was actually looking to do some work for the Vintage, and Mark's stepfather lives there and has the inside connection, and got me the golf ball and the golf tees. And so what I did was I just put together a cool little sample photo for them, and you know, Mark was nice enough to deliver it to them, and just to let them know that, hey, you know what, there's a very talented photographer out in the valley who's looking forward to doing some work with you. And so, you know, like I said, sometimes you got to give your stuff away just to get recognized. So that's what I did. Another place photo. This was for a company called Premier Lighting Innovations.
Wow.
They're based out here in the desert, and this is all they do. They do Christmas lights.
Really?
Yeah, and this is at a private home in Bighorn on the canyon side. So if you're going up 74, it'll be on the left. And they're nestled kind of way in the back. And this was actually, we were leaving, and I turned around and I looked at it, and I just, well, you know what, that looks really cool. And so on a whim, he didn't even ask for the shot. I just set up and I took the picture. And when we looked at it on the back of the camera, I already knew it was going to be the best shot from the property. And it was. So sometimes, even though you go in with a plan, you don't always, you know, some things change. Now, this was the same night when we were packing up and getting ready to go, and I saw it, and I said, "Hey, can I stop and take a picture of that?" And he said, "Yeah, I got to go, but do whatever you want." So I stayed and I set up, and you know, I've always liked the way that the water pictures, when you do a time exposure, and you get that blur effect going on in the water. Yeah, and it shows in the reflection. Thank you. It shows in the reflection. It shows in here how you kind of get that wispy, very soft look to it.
That's a swimming pool?
No, that is it's a visual water feature. It's designed to look cool. That's what I call it. That just look pretty. So as you go in the main gate, you're driving down this road, and you see this just off to the left about, I don't know, 16, you know, just right after you get in. You drive down just 100 yards or so, and you see this off on the left. And it's definitely more impressive at night than it is in the day, in my opinion. I always like shooting at night.
I want a pool like that.
I actually sent that to a buddy on Facebook and said, let's do your pool like this. And
absolutely.
Yeah, he coughed at the price. He didn't like it. This again, Premier Lighting Innovations. These were all shot December of last year. Actually, January of this year. We ended up doing it after Christmas. And this is actually a compilation of 2 photographs. And sometimes that's necessary to get the look that you want. And so, you know, I wanted to get the Christmas lights nice and crisp, I knew that I still needed to see the house, but when you shoot it that way, because the front of the house, the side that we're looking at, is pretty much in shadow, there's not a whole lot you can do to balance the exposure between the house and the sky. And so I had to do two separate exposures of the house and the sky, and I had to marry them inside of Photoshop. So this really kind of speaks to my talent within Photoshop of what I'm capable of doing, and just utilizing different things. Now this is another place. This was the brown room, as the owner called it, and these were the house was up for sale, and my office had just been broken into. All of my old work had been stolen, so this was a free shoot. That I said I'll shoot your house for free because I need portfolio photos.
Also, Adrian, you have some beautiful golf photos on Palm Sports website.
Yeah.
I have them posted on my Facebook site, Adrian.
Oh yes, those landscape photos.
The morning golf shots.
I know. I remember what you're talking about. I shot the golf course was actually for a rental agency. And I'm sorry I don't have those. Those were some of the pictures that were lost when my equipment got stolen.
I do have them posted on Palm Springs Sports website on Facebook.
Awesome. So that's palmspringsports.com, right?
Palm Springs Sports with an S website. That's the name of the Facebook site.
Oh, it's okay on Facebook. So if anybody watching wants to go check out those golf course photos, there they are. And that was actually for La Quinta Vacation Rental 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah, just went out, borrowed a golf cart before any of the golfers got out there, and just drove around, took three nice panoramic photos. Yeah, I did another sports photo. It was a team photo when they were doing a cycling competition out in Palm Springs. Do you have that one as well, Mark?
I do have those posted on palmspringsport.com.
Okay, without the S. palmspringsport.com.
Right, sport.com. We have the tennis tournament photos and also the team portrait photos on there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we actually went to was it the whatever that tennis tournament they do?
The DMP tennis tournament in Indian Wells, right?
Right. Yeah, and we got some cool action photos there of preliminary rounds.
Some gorgeous action photos.
Thank you. Thank you.
So if anybody wants to take a look at some of your photos on the web, those are two great places to take a look.
Yep. As well as almphoto.com, which is my site, and that's photo with an F, almphoto.com. This is another place, this house, the brown room that we were just looking at, in the formal sitting area. This is all the same house. She had just a little powder room, and for those of you who don't know what a powder room, it doesn't have a shower or a bathroom, or excuse me, a shower or a tub. So it's a 3/4. It's got a place to sit, a place to wash your hands, and this one, I love the mirror in this one, and there wasn't any way to kind of put something creative in there, so I just opened the door. At least we had a balance between light and dark there. But I really like that this artwork on the right side, as well as these triangles here. And they all kind of played together with the cabinet, and I really like the coloring. And so, just again, a simple shot. Same house, still the same house with the powder room. This was their pool. And the funny thing about this was that my wife's father, my father-in-law, lives in the house right here. He used to live in that house. I shot this house 8 years ago for McIntyre Pools and Spas, and I did this exact same shot for them. And here we are, years down the road, and now I've married my wife. I've been in the house that's down here. I actually shot that house too. And here I am back shooting this house now for sale. It kind of an interesting, serendipitous course of events.
Nice negative edge pool.
Oh yeah, it's got that infinity feature, and coming up, we're going to see a shot of the house from that infinity edge. So you can see the pool in the background there. This was a picture that was on the postcard. There it is.
Oh, gorgeous.
And I'm sure this house sold right away after your photos, huh?
Well, when you're talking about homes in the $3 million range, $4 million range,
Shoot, is that it?
they don't turn over quite as
Good
quickly.
price.
Well, yeah, if I don't forget about the market and the fact that housing rates have come down.
I think the masterminds ought to just collectively buy that for our podcast. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, it's our hangout.
That's our hangout.
Yeah, we could use the living room.
Will we get anything done?
Lots of swimming. Lots of swimming.
Yeah. No work. No work.
And this is the TV room. So on the right side, right over here, is where the flat screen TV was, right over on this side.
Right.
And I had to add in a couple lights. You can see I had a light coming in. I actually had 2 lights, maybe 3 lights coming. I had a light here for this chair. I had the light over here shining onto this chair. And then I think I had another one. I know it was hitting this bookshelf. And might have had one on the painting too. I don't remember. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into taking photographs. You don't just walk into a house and go, okay, set your tripod up and start taking pictures. Even this one, the daytime version of it. Where is it? There it is. I had 2 large flashes actually going off for this one. So, it's a lot of people say, oh, I'm a photographer, I have a camera. Okay, fine, you're a photographer. I'm a professional photographer, and that's why I can do shots like this. That's my story, kind of. As far as the samples of my work
and what that does to your website, the professional images, huh, Peter?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to want to stop sharing. There you go. Yeah. How do I even say that? If you're selling a product, you really need to have good product pictures. Like Adrian says, it makes you want to go open that bottle and have a drink. The other aspect that I think that's really important about websites and photography is that you should have a picture of who you are on the front page. People like to know who you are. Recently, Adrian and I both saw somebody else's website, and they need some serious help with a picture of themselves. You just can't grab something that somebody did as an amateur and stick it up there. So that's important. Also, Adrian's got a website. Has everybody been over to visit that at all?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. I've got some suggestions, Adrian.
Oh, yes, sir.
On your website. Let me see if I can get there. Do I have it? Hang on. I've got to go find it again here. And that's the one I want right there. See if I can see that now. Sometimes Google's kind of funny. It doesn't always let me. Here we go. And okay, so can everybody see Adrian's website?
Yeah.
I thought it only did that on the Mac.
Well, your header is shoved to the left, so we got to fix that. No big deal with that. I mean, that's something we got to do. But again, I think I've got a little laundry list of things here too. I think that we ought to have a picture of you up on the front page there, and
maybe a video even.
Yeah, well, I got that down below here too. The header is not linked to the main page, so we probably should fix that. And now, Adrian, here's a thing to take a peek at. It just appears that you might have more than one space in here. And you see how we've got these linked, same thing. Just check those spacings, would you? If it's 2 spaces, it screws up the family portraits keyword.
Okay.
Hard to say. It looked to me like there's probably 2 spaces between family and portraits. But then again, sometimes the fonts used, the spaces are a little wider, a little shorter. So I can't really tell that one for sure. And then we ought to have a video. And you have some really great videos over here. Let me see videos. Yeah, on this page, but this is a gorgeous video of one of my clients, obviously, and then this is another gorgeous video. These should be over on the front page, and honestly, these should be larger, probably 560 by 315 pixels. It's too small, and people aren't smart enough to know you can go down here and go full screen, so I'd make these larger myself. just for purposes of argument. And then down here in the footer, by the way, contact information should be much larger there, easy, probably up here somewhere up in that area. And the blogs, your blogs are stale, and that's the trouble. Let me see, where was our on-site blog here? Oh, here we go, site blog. This is backwards, by the way. This is the oldest down to the newest. So we should switch that, and then April 3rd was your last blog entry. And then over on Blogger itself, same problem. Your January 29th, it looks like. So this is the big hassle everybody has, was staying on top of their social media, mind you. Thus, Hootsuite's a good item for that. Your Facebook looked like it was up to speed. And this is really cool how you did this. Mark, have you ever seen this before? This is pretty cool, isn't it?
On top?
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Like a doodle?
Yeah, almost like a doodle.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of sort of thoughts I had. Gorgeous pictures. And I know you can click these and go over and see these. I still get a little worried, though. Maybe it's just me. The contrast still isn't great enough. Almost like the text gets washed out in that blue. But that could be my color eyes, you know, or lack thereof.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so these product pictures are phenomenal, I thought. Look at that. That's just so gorgeous. Not because I'm an alcoholic. I think that's a gorgeous picture.
It is good. If you haven't tried it, you should try it. It's extremely smooth.
I don't like bourbons, and I've not been drinking lately anyway. So, but that is just such a gorgeous picture. There's a story to tell in pictures. How Frank, what do you think of that?
Well, I have some thoughts I'd like to jump in on.
Okay, great. Let me stop sharing and get us back over here where we can I can put the focus on you. What are you thinking, Frank?
All right, Adrian. I have an iPhone. I'm a photographer. I have an old Minolta. I'm a photographer. I am terrible. Compared to what I just saw you post, I take pictures, and man, is there a big difference.
A huge difference.
And in thinking about it, Adrian, if I were in business, or I mean, if I wanted to take pictures of my family, whether it be my grandparents or my children or grandchildren, you know what, Adrian, I don't want a picture. I don't even want a photographer. Yes. You know what I want from you? I want hopefully two things. I want a reaction when people see that picture you just took, and I want that picture to tell a story. There are photographers all over this valley.
Yeah.
Okay? All of them have lighting. All of them have the bada bings, bada booms, whatever they have. Do you guys have that stuff, shutter things? But you, and just hearing you describe your father-in-law's house, hearing you describe other things, I was reacting to that, and I was telling a story. You were telling me a story, and I was reacting to that story. I think, again, and here I go back again, I think you should promote how well you can get a reaction to and tell the story your client wants people to see. And I think that would make you priceless. Sell the reaction, sell the story. They can get a photo themselves with their iPhone, or if any other photographer in the valley. But you specialize in a reaction. That young boy, the model that you took, and the way you took it, I reacted to that. I said, wow, I would want that kid representing me in some kind of commercial. I reacted because of the way you did the lighting and everything. So I think you should sell reactions and stories, not photos. And that's my pitch.
You know,
I appreciate that.
Pictures.
Let me jump in on that. You know, Adrian, listening to you describe each picture, we really ought to have a video connected to each one of those pictures that describes what you were going after and how you accomplished that. I think that answers the mail for what Frank is talking about. You know, that there's a story behind every picture. We ought to know what it is.
Right.
And I'm going to chime in on the same thing. You can look online right now. You can go into Google and you can type in something as simple as portrait photography, and you can get a deal at JCPenney for $7.99 to go in there. So you need to be able to advertise why the $7.99 special at JCPenney is absolutely horrible, because the $75 portrait studio session that you do, where you either come into somebody's house and set up everything right in their living room, isn't just a 2-second, hey, I've set up lighting, I snap 2 photos, I make you look pretty on the PowerPoint present, well, whatever it's called nowadays. You came over to my place, and it took us, what, 2 hours to do all the photography? And most of the stuff wasn't just setting up lights. It was getting me into a happy mood to where it showed in the photography.
Matter of fact, let me share that picture. Let me share that. Whoops, wrong one. Let me share that picture. There. Can everybody see that?
I think try clicking on it.
Now, the backstory to that photo is we had a football game going on in the background. My kids were running around in the backyard right behind the backdrop. My wife was cooking lunch in the kitchen. But you'd never know. You look at the photo and you'd think that you were in a professional studio somewhere in an industrial park or business complex. That's my living room.
So
those are the reasons that that I think people come back, is that.
Also, Peter.
Yeah.
You can go to Palm Springs Sport and click photography, and you could show his pictures too.
I think that's good enough for the moment.
Next time. Maybe next time.
Yeah, next time we can head over there maybe. But, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. But it does tell a story. You're still ugly. He can't fix that, though. You know.
You can't fix ugly. I got it. But there's a difference between a $7 photo and a $70 photo. And it's the amount of time that he puts in with the client. Not just in Photoshop, but puts in with the client to make the client comfortable, relaxed. Because how many people besides professional models like to be in front of a camera getting their pictures taken?
All right, here's another sample. Well, you were talking about me going into an environment and set. I can see these photos?
Yep.
Okay. These photos were done for a property management company, and so you can see the consistency between the photos, and this was all done at their office in Palm Desert.
Yep.
So I have the ability to bring people to my home and set up in my studio and do beautiful photographs of them, and each one of those pictures, like that she said, oh, can we just set it up like a conveyor belt? And I said, yeah, we can do that. Let's do 5 minutes of photo. And so within that 5 minutes, I have to say hi, and I have to get people comfortable enough with me to realize that I'm going to make them look good. I'm going to make you smile. I'm going to make you happy, and we're going to get a great picture of you. And those quick pictures that I just showed you, those were all of the final product, right? Those weren't the series of photos. It's not just one photo next, one photo next. It's usually 10 photos, 15 photos. And what I noticed, this is the first time I noticed it, so I'm always learning, is the first photo is sometimes the best one, because that's when people are the most relaxed, and that's when their smile is the most natural. And then after that, then we start to work through the poses and the doing different things, and they go from having this very straight, kind of serious face, and then you get this half smile, and then you get this really big cheesy grin smile, and it's usually right after the cheesy grin they start to come back down, and you see that you get that natural, relaxed smile again. And so it's funny looking through the proofs, minus the first one, serious, medium, big happy smile, and then good smile. So we get those 4 and it was a consistent graph kind of thing with all the photos, and so that was something I learned just last week.
Well,
Very cool.
you provide a personal service.
Yeah, Mark, I just sent you a text in the chat box too. If you can send me those links.
Okay. Let's see. But yeah, Adrian, you provide a personal service that it's very hard to find.
Thank you. And the hardest thing for me to do is hire a photographer for my family portraits. But I do notice the same thing in those photos when I get those proofs, is you have that same kind of gradation. So good photographers, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the only good photographer, but good photographers are hard to find, and the service that we provide, it is important. And so, going to multiple websites, mine being the last one, because save the best for last, but very important. Yeah, we do provide a service.
Alrighty then, we're coming up on the actual hour. Does anybody have any other questions for Adrian? Nope. How are you getting new business, Adrian?
Right now, well, for a long time in the past, it was the phone book, and I remember when I first signed up with the phone book, and my phone was ringing, because that was where people went. People went to the phone book to look for photographers, to look for physicians, to look for whatever it was, or web designers, whatever it was that they were looking for. That's where they went. And I am over the past 2 years have found that the phone book is nothing but good kindling or a good doorstop. You might as well start a fire with it, or you might as well use it to keep your door open, because nobody's looking there. Of my past 5 jobs, and they've all been people over 50, they all found me on the internet. Every single one of them. And when I mentioned the phone book, they kind of like, no, I use the internet, because I thought for sure, older people, they're used to doing things the way that they do them. We all kind of get caught in that thing, and they're not using it. So I've gone to start using the digital media, and all of our interactions over the past year, Peter, I'm so grateful for, because they've been nothing but true. The social networking, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Pinterest, the Blogger. I did all of that, and then right around April, school lets out, and we have summertime out here. And to be honest with you, I just enjoyed my kids this summer. I kind of took 3 months and just enjoyed my family. And so now, we're coming back into season. And so, yeah, I know that those are the things I want to get into again. And I appreciate the feedback from you, Frank. And your idea too, Peter, to tie the video in with that and doing the individual photographs, and Giardino's idea with I provide a service. Yes, I do photographs, but it's more. It's a 30-minute or an hour or a 2-hour session where you forget about the world, you forget about everything else going on, and you're with me taking pictures, and I make you look good. And so the internet is, the digital marketing is really where the bulk of my business is coming from these days.
Oh, good. And by the way, phone books are, if you need to armor your car against 9mm rounds, you take your door panels off, slide them in there, put your door panel back on, and they can't shoot through the door. Just as a point of fact for the urban terrorist or anti-terrorist guy. All right, Mark just sent me. Let me just share my screen. Mark sent some more pictures over that you did, and here's a team photo. Actually, if I click on that, no, it doesn't get bigger. It just goes to the left. Okay, and another great team photo here. This is great. Look at this picture.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to mention that.
Wow, look at that. Heck, gorgeous. And so, yeah, this is pretty cool. Pretty cool photos there, Adrian. That has to be
the new court out at the tennis center, by the way, the brand new one.
Is that right?
Right. Yeah. That was the Stadium 2 that they just built.
Well,
and Adrian and I got in with our media access, and we were one of the first photos of the new stadium. Huh, Adrian?
Well, I was actually there the day before.
Right.
I just walked right on in, and the guys in white shirts really don't get paid very much, and so when you say, "Oh, I'm meeting with Mark Giardino over there at Stadium 2," he's speaking with, and then you name drop, they all just kind of go, "Oh yeah, go ahead, yeah," like they knew that you were coming. So
yeah, he mentioned Palm Springs Sport, and they let him right in.
Well, maybe this year you need to mention the 101 Small Business Mastermind. We can have a little podcast buttons or badges on, and in we go. So
they'll have VIP boxes.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we can have VIP passes. We can make them up for everybody. All right, such fun. All right, does anybody else have any questions for Adrian? If not, we'll have his link to his show notes, his link to his website over in the show notes, and we'll go from there.
Well, I also want one more thing, Adrian. Also, they can get a discount through Palm Springs Sport. Adrian's company is a sponsor for Palm Springs Sport, and there is a discount on palmspringsport.com for Adrian's company.
Excellent. Okay. We can't even say goodnight, Dick. So, hey, Frank and Jane, say goodnight.
Hey, no, I can say good night, Dick, wherever you are.
Yeah, well, he's hopefully okay. He was doing okay there. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Hang on. We'll stop the podcast and hang on a minute.